Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, I suppose, technically, and welcome to our latest Cardiff Life Business Club. We hope it's a timely reflection of well-being in Cardiff. We'll be speaking with Sam Farnfield, Cardiff Pedal Power, Owen Phillips, Operation Fitness, and Sam Escofet and Amy Rasbuary of Escofit shortly. We'll be discussing what we've all learned from this, insert your adjective of choice, year. It's been a tough time, we know that, but we want to be looking forward as well as the great reset starts to cut in. What has changed in health and well-being? The companies in the sector, for businesses with their teams, and for people in Cardiff. We'll be exploring how they and their clients have been responding to these times, how they've altered their offering, what's better, not what's worse, because that's a bit dull really, but also what they think of the year ahead. Please send your questions and thoughts using the Q&A button below. You can ask them anonymously if you like, or preferably named, but just add your name to that question if that's okay. Note that today's Business Club once more is being recorded and will be on our Cardiff Life YouTube channel this afternoon. So a few notes before we get going on other stuff we're doing, as we, like many businesses, are truly gearing up ahead of the better times ahead for us all to come. Our next Cardiff Life Business Club is on April 13th, and it's about new businesses. It's a great opportunity to highlight interesting new ventures and to explore their thinking. Please talk to us if that applies to you or if it's one of your clients. It's really vital for us all to support new businesses, help give them a bit of profile, to hear what they're doing, how they've been faring, and so on. Please also look out for our Cardiff Life Business Surgeries. These are bespoke deep dive sessions showcasing companies' expertise through discussion in multiple areas, from financial to legal to the technology of hybrid workplaces to marketing. Please talk to us about how you might be involved, because we can all do with advice, and frankly, probably like us, we can all do with new business as well. A couple of updates on our awards. We've actually got a big event, a virtual event, which is taking place next Friday, which is the Cardiff Property Symposium and Awards. So that's March 26th, as you can see here, a week this Friday. It's free to join for anyone. A number of different elements, keynotes, awards, and to meet with the greatest array of Cardiff professional services since those pre-lapsarian days of 2019, seems ages ago. The symposium runs from 1 till 4. It's an open networking session at first from 1 o'clock, very informal. I've heard it described as like speed networking, brief discussions, chats with meetups, and a lot of good relationships are built from that through until the awards at 4. So open networking, thought leadership, really high quality, deep professional analysis from keynote speakers. Janet Sebritz, the executive director at CBRE, a very major land company in the UK. Also Lawrence Bowles, Director of Residential Research in Savills. We've commissioned them both to give insights on 2021, valuations, transactions, maybe Brexit, perhaps working from home, commercial property trends, much more. It'll actually be a really good thing in its own right. Our sponsors will be hosting hubs, and the last hubs are available. It's a bit like having a box at the rugby or sport or whatever. You can just pop in here, talk, meet, and so on. Have a chat with us about any options for last availability on that. And then the awards themselves, finally, virtually. And all of this you can register via the Cardiff Property Awards website. Lovely group of sponsors for this, including Marsh Commercial, Sanctuary Financial Planning, Specialist Security, TSR Legal, Wilmot Dixon, and of course Cardiff Life. Thanks to them. And then after this strange year, we will be coming back in real life with the Cardiff Property Awards on November 26th. Yes, real life, eh? It's a lunchtime and afternoon event. It's a great celebration of the property scene, hundreds of attendees, many convivial business meetings afterwards. And yeah, of course, a few sponsorships are available. Cardiff Life Awards, they are also, or will be back in real life on 30th of September at City Hall. And frankly, everyone coming together, from the coolest of the indies, the largest of the corporates, after this year of all years. We hope it'll be a high watermark. It'll be a lovely evening of celebration. We will, of course, reflect on this year that's just passed, but really we're highlighting the brilliance of companies, organisations, charities, etc. in Bath. Now, if you're an ambitious company or one seeking to rebuild your business pipeline, or plain proud to be a leading Cardiff company, please do consider sponsoring. This year we think it will have particular resonance over all others. Nominations are open. It's free to enter via the website. And please do nominate. Bit of a tip, it's just a great chance to foreground how your team has responded in the pandemic. And of course, we're not expecting companies to bang on about what a great year they've had and so on, because it hasn't been a great year for the vast majority. And our nominations form does allow for the pandemic factor and the thinking. Good group of sponsors there currently, and of course others are available. So Marsh Commercial, Genero, Hawkins Thomas Wealth Management, Park Plaza, Regis, WSET, and again Cardiff Life. We're doing a new thing, as many businesses. We're all trying to find new ways of communicating and developing what we do. One of our new things is this crumbs takeaway. Of all of the sectors hit by the pandemic, hospitality has been hit amongst the hardest of all. So we're running this virtual conference April 19th as part of our award-winning Crumbs brand. It's called a takeaway in the sense of what you gain from the conference. It'll feature national level keynotes, panel sessions, practical insights, and some really, really heartwarming tales of the good that people do, how hospitality businesses have responded to support others during the pandemic. Lisa, our editor on Cardiff Life, has a section on that about how Cardiff hospitality businesses have stepped forward. But please, if you're in hospitality, please do join. And if you supply the sector and want to show your support, raise a profile, please let's talk. Of course, at the heart of all that we do in Cardiff is Cardiff Life. We're proud to publish a magazine that celebrates the very best of this incredible city, from arts to professional services, hospitality to property, from business services to retail, startups, long-standing businesses, all in between, and of course, including health and wellbeing like today. But if anything, we're even more proud of the support we've had from the businesses and organisations of Cardiff during these times. Thank you very much. It's great for us all just to see this momentum building and the confidence rising as the unlockdown, if that's a thing, starts to happen and the world starts to open up. It's coming. It's quite clear it's coming. It's up to all of us now to get going where and when we can. Let's do this. Let's bring forward our speakers, have a chat with each time and see how we're doing. I'll just take that piece there. Let's have Sam Farnfield first at Cardiff Pedal Power. Sam, like to step forward?
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing, sir? You all right?
I'm very good.
Yeah?
Lovely to see you.
Yeah, well, very good to see you. Let's talk about Cardiff Pedal Power. Obviously, the clue is in the name, and it's reasonably clear what you might be doing. But just for those who don't know, what do you do, and frankly, why do you do it?
Okay, so we're an inclusive cycle charity. You may not quite know what that means, but essentially, we look for ways to break down all the barriers to cycling. We work with a lot of disability groups, community groups. We're proud to say that we have been a winner of Cardiff Life's Health and Wellbeing Award in the past. And what we do is a real health and wellbeing focus on helping people to get active and using our specialist expertise and equipment to aid them in doing that.
And how has it been for you, partly personally, but really from the organisation's point of view during the pandemic? Has it been pretty tough for you?
I think, like everyone, it has been a tough year, as you've said, and from last March, if you look back, obviously, as I've said, our main user group is quite vulnerable, and we didn't have very much knowledge at the time as what coronavirus was. As like everyone else, it was a scary time, I have to say. I mean, we closed in March, and we closed because we were concerned that the people we worked with could become sick, and when we had to regroup. Really, I think we have learned a lot over the last year, and we are back open now, starting to deliver what we were doing a year ago. But yes, it has been a difficult year.
And what are you doing differently now than compared with what you've done previously? How has your offering and your way of working changed? Not so much the internal, we're all using Zoom and Teams, of course, but your actual offering externally.
Yeah, so I'd say one thing for us, we quickly realised that you can't obviously teach people to ride bikes over Zoom. Really? We're very hands-on. Yeah, it was a real surprise. But we've changed our layout of our building. So we've looked for ways to facilitate ease and swift access to our services. Really, we've moved some booking online, but really we've actually just communicated with all of our user groups in the most effective way for them to access us. So it is a booking system. It is having things slightly more spread out, which from a business model, I know we'll all be saying, how am I going to deliver 100 bike rides a day when I'm now trying to do it in half the space? Well, that has been difficult for us. But what we have learned with an increased amount of time to communicate with our customer base and our user group is that we're a service that they need. And they really missed us when we weren't there. So I think we've held on to that element of building our communication techniques and just working with our user group more to learn from them at what we can do to help them. And then, of course, we sanitize our bikes and we have a one-way system and we've PPE in place and all of the usual things. But I would say that the element of communication has helped the most, really, with us knowing that we are valued out there. You know, it's helped us go when it's been difficult.
And I suspect for you and for many watching this, that the old line, you don't know what you've got till it's gone, probably been recurring and playing in people's heads, like that great Joni Mitchell song. That yes. We've all realised actually the goodness is right in front of us, and we perhaps have taken it for granted. We just haven't been as aware of it, whereas we are now, which is certainly quite heartwarming for you personally.
It really is. It really is. We've had some fantastic stories, and we've had some stories, some really difficult stories from many of our users who. Pedal Power is quite a unique service. There's not many in Britain organisations like Pedal Power, and for this area, a lot of people who come through us don't have many other services to interact with, and of course a lot of them, like everybody else, closed. We were concerned, and we made a lot of quick decisions, which I think were right at the time. But what we've realised is as soon as we can open, we need to be there for people. And the stories of people's, long lockdowns where they haven't had a service to access, they haven't been able to exercise, to have any kind of community connection, it's been a big impact on a lot of our members' health and well-being, really. So we're open as much as we can now. We're 2 days a week. We're going to 4 days next week. And by April, I'm hoping we're running pretty much everything we were before. The only thing left is to open our cafe, but we're not quite there yet.
It will come, I'm sure. Sam, at this stage, and then we'll have I'll bring on our next speakers. Just a briefing, really. What was it like for you to win the 2019 Cardiff Life Awards, as you mentioned?
It was fantastic. I think it's wonderful to be recognised. We work very hard. We're open 350 odd days a year, and we've got a lot of volunteers. We're a small charity, and we all strongly believe in what we do, and we know that we have an impact. But for somebody externally to come in and recognise that is wonderful, and for it to be local recognition, I think it's more important from our perspective, because it's the local people, it's people in Cardiff and South Wales is who we work with. So for it to be Cardiff Life, we were really pleased.
Well, good luck to you and anyone who enters. Former winners can win again. Completely new businesses, companies we don't know at all can win. It's useful profile at the very least in after this year. We are going to stop talking about this year fairly soon. We're going to start talking about the good stuff that's coming. For now, Sam, thank you for that. If you step away, we'll have our dynamic duo another Sam and her business partner, Amy. So for Escofit, we're going to hear about that as a business, and you're going to talk through what you do and why you do. It was started in 2010. Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Right.
Yes.
I can't tell if you're doing some positional thing or if you're just on a chair. You're
Yeah, no,
a squat,
as we said, we just thought we'd just do a permanent squat for the whole hour.
Okay.
Two meters apart, of course.
Good. Well, do take your chairs away then. You know, you can't sit in a chair. You're faking it.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. That's what we say.
Okay, that passes me by. That's much too subtle for me. But let's talk about Escofit. Sam, when you founded it, what were your aims? And of course, in this year, how has that modified?
Well, I mean, when I first started out, it started with Zumba, because before that I wasn't in fitness. I was a nurse. So I kind of came out of nursing and then was looking for something, went to this class, thought it was amazing, and thought, well, this is something I really enjoy, so maybe I could give it a go. So I did, and it seemed that it was the thing that everybody wanted to do at that time, and continues to want to do. But essentially the beauty of it was, because it was in the community. We've never worked with gyms within a gym, and there's nothing wrong with working within gyms. It's just that we have always run from community halls, church halls, places where people can just rock up wearing whatever they want to wear and move, basically. Pay as you go, so there's never been a subscription, there's never been literally they come with a money, £4 in the pocket or whatever it was at the time, and then away we go. So that it was just more about a group of people getting together, having a good time, and enjoying exercise as a byproduct, if you like. Both Amy and I are both working mums, essentially. Back 10 years ago, mine was much younger. You sort of people gravitate towards you because they also have small children, or they're also in this kind of journey of trying to juggle everything, and they just want to have a nice time. And when you have small kids, you can't go out and have a lovely time, much like now, but with less sleepless nights, I guess. So yeah, I think that was the general reason, I think.
Well, let's come on to it. As I say, we don't necessarily want to dwell hugely, but just a little bit. People can't just rock up because they're not allowed to go out, let alone to go to places. How have you modified, and how have you your own spirits? I mean, you both seem immediately very sort of strong and happy people. How have you managed that, given what must have been such a challenge for you?
Well, it has been very difficult. Obviously, we had to change everything. Everything had to change because people still wanted to exercise and engage. The reason, by the way, I'm doing all the talking right now is because I have the mic. I did say earlier, the seagulls are incredibly noisy. It's not that Amy can't talk, and she will chip in when needed. But yeah, I'm speaking on behalf of us, really. It was a complete steep learning curve. We're not technological people. Everybody, we literally, within a couple of days, we'd downloaded Zoom as an app, and we were trying our best to connect with so many different people, especially the older active participants, because we were trying to, they couldn't see anybody, so their only connection was to log in onto Zoom, which we had many hours of phone calls talking individuals through how to work Zoom, and how you get the volume up, and how you see us on there. And it's basic. It probably took, I think, about 6 months before people just were like, yeah, I got it. I've bought new tablet, I've bought this, I've got my speaker connected, and also probably until we really got a good grasp of it. But they love that connection. So even now, when people are kind of isolating, we've had people who are shielding, who've been shielding, or people who are waiting for their vaccines, feeling nervous about going into groups. They're still seeing each other every morning, because we run classes for that particular group.
Well, at this point, I would like to bring Amy in. Seagulls not with, so let's hope they're a bit bloody quiet at the moment.
Hi.
So Amy, talk us through your role and how you've adapted the offering with Sam in these times.
Yeah, so we work together, so we both do the same things. Obviously, we teach slightly different principles. So Sam teaches yoga. I don't. I'm a bit more jazz handy. Um, so
Or do it. That thing.
hey.
Yeah.
um, so yeah, so it was so we literally had to create a whole new business for ourselves because we were always a cash business. You rock up or you don't. Now people were having to kind of book a slot and pay in
Yeah.
advance, and that's something. So it was like educating all our clients and educating ourselves too. We didn't have a clue, did we? We were like, head blown every 5 seconds, with some new challenge that we had, and then you're relying on things that we never had to rely on before, like Wi-Fi and the speed of your internet. And good Lord, there have been so many challenges with that, and clients going, "You're frozen," and we're like, so there were all these things that we never had to even consider before that all of a sudden are quite major to making sure that we can deliver the classes to keep our clients engaged and to keep their fit, healthy, well-being, sane, because and that interaction with people, because many people throughout this pandemic have really suffered the loneliness feeling because they can't see their loved ones and friends and families. And
I suppose, one way or another, everyone has had to adapt, learn new things, and
exactly that.
go through it. And to a greater extent, greater or lesser extent, we're all in the same storm. We may be in different boats, but we're finding our ways through.
For sure.
One last question for you both at this stage,
Yeah.
and we'll call you back for the panel. For those who may not be fully familiar with Zumba, asking for a friend here, just talk through what it is, how easy it is, and why it's beneficial.
Oh, it's suitable for everyone. So we offer Zumba for kids, Zumba for everyone, all the way up to the older active adult. So Zumba Gold, that's called, yeah. So there's regular Zumba Fitness, then there's Zumba Gold, which is, it's got no impact, it's slightly slower pace, so the movements are easier to follow. But ultimately, Zumba's for everybody. So it brings in a Latin flavor, but worldwide rhythms too. So they're all very kind of straightforward to follow. That's the whole thing, which yeah, go.
It's basically just watch and do. So you just watch us and then you do it. And there's no right or wrong. You just throw yourself around, make some shapes, and yeah, it's like a dance fitness, and particularly at the moment, it's one of the most popular ones, I think, especially for the older. I'm saying old, and I mean like my age, not kids. Older and above,
Yes, not really
adults.
old.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Not really old, a little bit old, but not quite old. And yeah, basically it's just great because you can't go out, you can't socialize in the same way. So it's a real positive thing. We do try to inject as much feel good into all of our classes, really, because there is some positives that have come out of all of this, I think.
Yeah, I can almost feel my screen sort of the temperature rising, that's emanating from you both, and the energy.
A little annoying, I know.
I did not say annoying. I think I was about to say, I was about to say it's inspirational. Well, perhaps I won't.
No, we'll take that one. That's good. I like that one. Yeah.
We'll take that one. And take yourselves off camera now, and we'll bring in Owen and have a chat with him, and then bring you back for the panel sesh in a moment. And this is Owen Phillips, the Director of Operation Fitness. Owen will be joining us in just a tick. There you go. A man of a very strong physique, if I may say so. That's not inappropriate to say that. You were once a competitive boxer. So talk us through briefly your sort of odyssey from then to now, and why you do what you do.
Yeah, so like you said, I once, going back, I stopped boxing probably 4 years ago now. I last competed in the Welsh Championships, got to the semi-finals, broke my thumb, couldn't actually compete further, so I had to pull out. That was actually my last go at boxing. I was hoping that there was actually the Commonwealth Games, chance to get the Commonwealth Games, and it was my last go. I thought, right, I'll do this one more year and then we'll go for the Commonwealth Games. But unfortunately, it didn't pan out, and I didn't end up competing in the final, unfortunately. But yeah, going back a little bit on my background, boxing for years, competing at national level. I've now been a personal trainer for 8 years. 6 years into being a personal trainer, I looked and decided to open my own gym. So the gym was open in September 2019.
Yeah.
It's a nice gym, boutique gym. I wanted to go for a more of a London boutique style feel gym. Not massive, but big enough with all the equipment needed. We have a studio for boxing and for yoga, and then we have an open plan gym with all the equipment needed to do your workouts. We now have, which I will talk about a little bit later, we have a coffee shop on the side and the juice bar on the side of the gym, which overlooks the sea, which is a very, very nice scenery set place to sit and to have a coffee or a juice. Also, when you're training, we have all these bifolding doors that open right out. So again, you're looking out at the sea, constantly got fresh air. It's a very, very nice place to be.
It sounds pretty idyllic, but of course, in recent times, you've been largely closed, I guess. How have you actually traded during this time?
So very, very hard for me, because when we opened in September 2019, it's probably the worst time ever to start a business in my experience. So as everyone knows, it takes a good couple of years to get a business running, to set it up correctly, and to actually get to a profit stage. So after 4 or 5 months of working every single day, all the hours, because I'm pretty much running this business on my own at the time. So I'm trying to run a full-time gym as well as continue my personal training sessions. So about 4 or 5 months into running the gym, we hit a very, very good momentum. And come, I think it was February, March 2020, we increased our memberships by 10 times as much that one particular month than any other month. So
wow.
Month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we had a certain amount of membership. Come month 5 to 6, we increased that by 10. So we hit momentum, which was the best feeling ever. To then be told, close down your gym. Very, very hard, very frustrating. We didn't have any contracts in place for any of our gym members. So literally within about a week, we lost about 80% of our members, which was very heartbreaking because it took so long to get these members in place. So that's when we had to try and adapt and go online. And like Sam was saying earlier, I'm not a tech person at all. I'm hands-on. I like to be with someone one-to-one. And then I had to go into straight away trying to create an online platform, which again, I stayed up for a whole week, working till early hours in the morning to create this platform, to get some live classes going for my clientele, for hopefully to get some members back on board, and to also just to sell to the general public to keep fitness.
You seem, you come over like frankly many in sort of health and wellbeing sectors as a very positive, front-footed type of person. But did you ever have those sort of grim moments where you really couldn't see a way forward?
I am a very positive person, and I always try and find a solution for my problems. Now, the day it was announced, the very first lockdown, and they said you have to shut down, it was like a massive tide over me, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? But then, like I said, even the next day when I knew we had to close, I was already preparing to set up the online platform. So that was keeping me very, very busy for a week's work until we could actually launch that platform. We did it very quick. I didn't know it. We were the first gym in Cardiff to actually have this platform set up. I knew I had to be ahead of the game. So that's why I said I spent that week doing that. And we actually got it before any other gym, which was great, because we then had some members rejoin the gym to actually come on board this platform, because we were offering so many classes. We were doing, at the first lockdown, it was about 18 live classes a week, as well as like banked classes that they could come on at any time. So I never really had that down feeling, because I was always busy and I was always trying to look for the ways forward and how to actually keep going, be productive.
Well, you've almost defined bounce back ability. I know other sports people use the expression, when you've had whatever form of setback, you've got to get straight back into it. Fair play to you for doing that straight in. You're not a techie, the vast majority of people aren't, but many have found their way in the near term, at least digitally. So good work, basically, and we hope that you and others, of course, prosper. Let's hold you on screen at the moment, and let's bring in Sam, and also Sam and Amy as well. So we have our full panel back in the room, as it were. Hello again. I think the seagulls are affecting Sam and Amy. They're fighting way through the flock of seagulls. There's a band reference, right? Talking of this year, and you've touched on some of this already, but for all the toughness, what have been the joys of this year, this last 12 months?
Us? Who? Us?
Yeah, have a go. Have a go.
Okay, well, we'll go first.
Yeah.
The joys, did you say?
Yes, I did actually.
Lots of joys, absolutely lots.
Maybe just one or two.
Okay, all right then. The fact that we have managed to create a whole new business model in a year and have really been able to engage everybody in that, the same as Owen was just saying there, that we literally move everybody online, and that is not something that we would have ever considered doing before this. People are able to book online, which is easier for them because carrying cash around was a bit of a pain. The fact that we have retained our client base and been supported by them has been massive for both of us, and we people are are able to join us from Spain, or clients that have moved away to different parts of the country, world, are still able to come and join us, so that wouldn't have happened before. We've now got a YouTube presence, which we definitely wouldn't have done before. So yeah, there's so many things. I was literally just saying how lucky I think we have been compared to, say, for example, Owen, who's got his own premise, his own building. We don't have that same overhead. We've literally been turning our houses upside down, and like trying to manage it from there. But to not have that financial overhead in the same way, really, we're really very fortunate, I think.
Yeah, everyone has a different hand to play, different responsibilities, life stage, costs, business model, and so on. Everyone has been finding a way through, pretty much. And if I bring in the other Sam, what have been the joys for you, sir?
Well, I think firstly, again this morning, we've been open for quite a bit of the past year, and we have people coming in every morning who are just so happy to be able to get out, to enjoy Cardiff, beautiful parks, and to be riding bikes. And I think, like everyone else, it is your user group, your customer base. The feedback from them has just been 400% rather than 100%. It's made it all worthwhile, and we're stronger for it. We really are stronger for the last year, I think.
Do you feel that yourself, Owen? Do you go that far to say you feel stronger for this experience?
100%. So very, very similar. I feel that when we went to our very first lockdown, because I was concentrating so much on building the gym, I had a gym and I was running classes, where now I feel I have a gym where I run classes. I have an online platform. I've opened a juice bar. I've redesigned the gym. I honestly feel we're going back so much stronger with so much more service to provide. And I'm so excited to actually go back and offer all these services. But the biggest joy I have is seeing when my clientele haven't had a great day and I'm going online, I'm running the classes with them, and they're coming on not in a great mood and they're leaving with the biggest of smiles. And that's my biggest joy, is to make sure and to be able to continue to make people feel positive. And at this time, we need that positivity for us all to spread that positivity. And I feel I'm kind of doing that with all my clientele still. So that's my biggest joy.
That's I have to say that's really lovely, and I can see you all also nodding away at that exact point. I'm sure you feel much the same sort of vibe for that. Talk us through for each of you what your next few weeks look like as the lockdown, the staged unwinding of the lockdown and so on. What are your own milestones? I mean, maybe Owen, you kick off on the cafe. I mean, it's a great addition, but it doesn't exist at the moment. But you have a timetable, presumably.
Yeah, so if I'm honest, the next stage is I haven't actually come to that stage yet because we haven't actually been given an exact date of when we can open. I found from the previous lockdowns, when I was planning on reopening, I would set all these plans into place. And then when it wasn't given the date that we thought it was given, these plans would have to be replanned. So I am waiting until I get a kind of rough idea of when we have like a month in advance, and then I will do my structure from there. But I've got a massive list of a month's work that I need to do. As soon as I get that month's notice, I'm going to be at that gym, restructuring everything, writing new timetables, sorting the cafe, online classes all have to now adapt and come together. It's going to be a very busy month for me. So, but I'm not at that stage just yet because we haven't been given a date.
The big caveat, of course, the precise timetable isn't known. But for Sam and then Sam and Amy, what are your sort of next steps? How will your business sort of fully, or charity sort of fully reopen? What does it look like?
Yeah, so we, again, similar to Owen, we need to think about our timetable. We'll always have a virtual presence now. What's great at the moment is now we can actually exercise outdoors with one other person or one other household, 2 people. We have both been doing some one-to-one sessions with some clients outdoors, which is amazing. It's lovely to be face-to-face with people, albeit, at social distance. So that's great. So it's lovely that we can start kind of reintroducing that. So at the moment, we're trying to do a little bit more of that, as well as keeping the online presence. So we have on-demand stuff that will always be there now. We've entered into that world. We'll always have an online presence, whether it be live online or on-demand online. We literally got an email today from the hall that we use to say that we're not open yet, and no chance, and we don't know when that's going to be. So as soon as we hear when that's going to be, like Owen, we can then start to prepare timetable. So like previous lockdown, there was the opportunity to train people outdoors up to 30 people. So that may be the next thing, but again, we're all just surmising, and until we get a definite this is what it's going to be, it's a pointless exercise going, oh, well, if it does this, we can do this. If it does this, we can do this. We literally go around in circles with it. And don't get me wrong, we do that constantly, because you need to kind of have a little plan in your head of what it's going to be. But until we get a definite, right, this is the date you're allowed back in the hall, how many is it going to be? And,
I'd have thought with you two, going around in circles is almost an occupational hazard.
Does,
call it exercise.
You must have seen us going in circles.
I think I've got an idea. Anyway, Sam, you sort of are, quote, open, but talk us through what you're seeing the next few weeks and months.
So I'd say quickly, we've learnt a lot this year as to, we knew we were quite unique, but we slipped through every crack. So there's a good reason that we could have remained closed for the year. There's a lot of evidence to say we should be open, and we learned very quickly that it's completely down to us what we do, but we have to do it safely. So we've ran a very limited service. We want to keep people active. We want to keep people having those routines and being able to touch base, but it's now looking at the 2 days going to 4 days. We're going to be 6 days in Pontcano, and this is mostly cycle hire and getting people cycling. We still have our trainers and our cycling officers who work one-to-one and with group rides. That's not quite ready to come back. So that's going to be appearing in mid-April, I think. But like everyone else is saying, this is where we're now getting into regulations and what we can definitely offer. Yeah. What we are ready here is we're ready to go at the drop of a coin. So as soon as we're allowed to start large group rides, they're going to be happening within a week. We do have a community cafe, however, which is a wonderful place if you've ever visited our cafe, and it's not a cafe that will run for social distancing, so we are just going to hold off on that one. But I think come the summer you'll see the cafe opening as well. So we've got our time frame, and by the second week of April I want to see us pretty much open 6 days a week here, and our bay site opening as well for cycle hire. and then we're going to go from strength to strength. Basically, it's going to be a really good year. I feel very positive about spring, summer. I just think it's going to be wonderful now.
So, I mean, you're each in your different ways saying, you know, on the one hand, there's the regulations, what you're allowed to do whenever that is. And of course, this is a rightfully very regulated area of what is permitted and so on. I want you to talk about the other part of this, which is and you can't influence those regulations. They're going to be whatever they're going to be, whatever the timetable is. But you can influence your customers, your clients in the area of reassurance. How are you regarding it in terms of some clients, at least, being apprehensive, being uncertain about being, you know, whether directly with you or with others in groups and so on? How do you give reassurance? How do you communicate that?
I would say that we have a very vulnerable base here. We have over 1,600 members of Pedal Power, and a lot of those people will have either been advised to shield at one or many points in the past year. They are hopefully now receiving their vaccinations. I know quite a few of them are. But they are also, I think, completely right to be cautious, especially if you are in the vulnerable categories of society. And I think in general, we're all, it's very much a toe in the water coming back to start a sort of normal world again. So my focus is always to reassure people that we are putting them first. The service we offer is all about the people coming to us, and our only focus is keeping them safe and keeping them active and allowing them to access. So we've provided our risk assessment online, and we've tried to provide it in a usable way. So it's not a complicated series of boxes. It's very straightforward and very friendly, hopefully, so people know what we're doing to keep them safe. And then we are opening very, very slowly so that everyone coming back to Pedal Power doesn't feel there's this huge jump into something, you know. It's gradual and hopefully very friendly as well. We're happy to answer questions.
But all of you, to some extent, you're actually sort of quite similar to hospitality in that respect. Of people, customers, a slightly more general point about reassurance, to encourage people to, you know, come out, to socialise, to engage. What else can you do beyond the formal stuff about, you know, compliance with regulations and that? And not just you, Sam, but the other two guests as well. How are you approaching at reassurance points for psychologically with your clients?
With myself, Greg, it's I feel because we're from a gym point of view, because we're a boutique gym, we actually got cap memberships. So we're not like these chain gyms who take on thousands and thousands. There are thousands of members in some of these big gyms, where at any one given time, there can be hundreds of people in one room. Because we cap our membership, our gym is never overcrowded. And also the biggest thing that we do have, like I mentioned earlier, one side of our whole gym opens up with these bifolding doors, which we get constant sea air coming through, and it kind of flows through the gym and out through the back. So it's constant flow in motion of air. That, and we clean 3-4 times a day. Well, we were cleaning 3-4 times a day. We try to keep the gym spotlessly clean. So from our point of view, because we've got a capped audience and a capped membership, the crowd's never going to be the gym's never going to be overcrowded, and we can kind of keep a good social distance between us.
And for Sam and Amy, a related but slightly different point, there's been quite a lot of talk about vaccination, health certificate type of approach. Certainly when it comes to travel, you can fairly easily imagine why you'd need vaccination in order to travel anywhere, but certainly to some countries. Could you imagine in your sector, if not your direct business, you would want to, you know, your clients to have had proof of vaccination to give the reassurance to others when they're in larger groups like your Zumba groups?
So actually, this is something that has certainly passed through our minds in terms of how we move forward in classes, because obviously if people are going to have, like you say, vaccination certificates to travel, then, you know, but I think, again, you know, it's all like we go in circles again, because we're like, well, you know, obviously if that's imposed, you know, then it's imposed, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a rule, it's a regulation that we have to abide by, the same way that in fitness we've, you know, risk assessed the life out of you know, our venues, and put in 3 meters apart, and only 15 in the, you know, in the hall, and there's your spot. You know, everything is going to be very, very tightly controlled, and quite frankly rightly so, because we're in the industry of health, wellness, fitness, you know, and we want them to be well, and we want them to be reassured and safe when they're in there, without worrying about, you know, am I going to, you know, get COVID from the person stood next to me, or whatever it is, you know, especially in the older active participant, like you said, you know, in that vulnerable, more vulnerable group, or people who may be, you know, a little bit more tentative about coming back. But yeah, you know, we just have to literally abide by the rules and do as we're told, basically, and you know, keep everybody as safe as possible, because they're coming to us to be healthy and you know, feel good, and they're not going to necessarily feel like that if you don't assure them that you're doing the things that you need to be doing. So,
and that you're not quite saying this, but it sounds as though, of course, if it's an obligation, absolutely you'll conform with that, like all will.
yeah.
But you may consider that as an option if it does provide the reassurance. May do.
Well, yeah, I think, you know, absolutely. And, you know, I know that there'll be a lot of people who might disagree with that, but ultimately we have to have insurance. And if we don't have everything, and we're not doing everything, and somebody was to become ill, then, you know, then we're not, you know, we're kind of doing them a disservice by, you know, not adhering to that, because it's a bit difficult to manage, you know. Yeah.
We've had an observation from a client of yours. You'll probably recognise her, Rachel Morgan.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, nice shout out for her, and indeed nice shout out for you from her.
Yeah, lovely.
Of Sam and I'd just like to say thank you for the way that you've transformed your business model and operations in these exceptionally challenging times. In terms of a question, it'd be interesting to hear how the panel members have maintained their own health and well-being. Maybe kick off with Owen on that one.
I'm sorry, I actually lost connection there, Greg. I didn't. I only heard you when you say kick off. I didn't hear anything else beforehand.
Yeah, God, yes. Answer that question then. All right, I'll tell you what it was. How have you maintained your own personal health and well-being?
All right. Okay. So I think I'm fitter than when I was at the gym, because I'm running so many online classes at the moment that it's very, very hard. So I found it was very hard to just instruct someone to do something without me doing it myself. So I learned from the first lockdown, where I was running up to 4 classes a day, I was absolutely dead. To now I'm running about 5 or 6 classes a week. So I can that's fine with me. This is how I'm keeping fit. I'm not personally using the gym. I know other gym owners are using the gym, but I want to be in it with my clients. I want to kind of say, look, I'm not using the gym. This is what I'm doing to keep fit. I'm doing my online classes. Come and join me. This is how we're going to do it for now. And if I can prove this is how it keeps me fit, I'm sure they like to join in and do the same way. So I'm in it with them. I don't want to use the gym, but that's how I'm keeping mentally fit and staying through all my online.
And Sam, for Cardiff Pedal Power, how have you personally kept mind, body, soul together?
So, well, I've been cycling.
Really?
I'm always cycling. I grew a beard for a year, which is nearly up. It wasn't intentional, but it became a kind of way to measure time of lockdown, apparently.
As someone who's also grown a beard, can I just say it's amongst the least active things anyone might do? I'm doing it right now. Come on, that's not a thing.
No, I think my point there is that it can be very stressful running a business or running a charity, and especially during lockdown, you have to have you have so many plates spinning to start things up and stop things. And that I have definitely found trying to focus my routine, learn when to shut down for the evening, when to either book in a cycle ride or just a form of having a break, or use my hobbies to let myself have a bit of downtime has been really important. I go to work every day, and so I'm used to leaving work and sort of leaving it behind me most days. But when everything went on Zoom or on emails, it's always there, and I think you're better for just, take some time, grow a beard in the evenings, or go for a bike ride, bake some sourdough, what it seemed like just about everyone I knew was doing apart from me. But just breaking your time up is very important.
I don't like to disagree with our panelists, nor to repeat myself, but growing a beard is not an activity. but good for you, you hirsute man. If I could ask Sam and Amy, perhaps just briefly talk about, and I suspect the answer is going to be Zumba, and but how you have maintained your personal fitness and health.
I hand it over to Amy. Just to, I didn't grow a beard, so
Well
just
done.
making sure that that wasn't something that kept me sane. But I'll hand you over to Amy to answer this.
So we obviously, we're both doing classes. We do body weight, we do yoga, we do Zumba, and we do our own training as well, just to run in and keeping our hand in, doing whatever. But pretty much like Owen, our classes keep us fit, so that we're doing that. So we're both spending a bit more time in the kitchens, kind of thinking about what we're eating, trying to feed our kids. That's a big challenge. Trying to get them to stay out the snack cupboard is just a disaster, isn't it? Clients has totally kept us sane, because they've joined us on this journey, and we're all in it together. So we run kind of focus groups at the moment, to keep everyone kind of focused on their fitness and on their health and well-being as well. And that obviously keeps us focused too, and each other, work wives. Yes.
You're quite the double act. It's come over very strongly. Could I just move on? It's one of the rules of meetings is, as soon as someone asks a question, then lots of others do. We've got two others I want to pick up on.
Okay.
From Annie Kelly, who says, really inspiring discussion from everyone, and thank you. This is perhaps more specifically for Sam at Puddlepower. Do you think the rise of Peloton will continue? It's been one of the stellar successes, more than anyone in the last 12 months. And is it a positive?
I think it probably will continue, yes. I think it's like a lot of things. We've all found different avenues and routes to do the things we love. So yes, you can take part in something in a different way. And I think when it's focused on health and well-being, on people being active and getting out, I think that's it's one of the most important bits of your life. So if there's a new route or a new source to keeping active, I think it's a good thing. And I think what our focus here is foundation skills like learning to ride a bicycle. Those will see you through the rest of your life, and then you can go off and you can take part in Peloton or anything else. It's once you get people set up, then hey, and I imagine it's the same for the other groups here. Is once people start to learn these skills, they can access them through other avenues, and I always think that's positive, really.
Okay, we've got a much bigger topic opening up here, which unfortunately we've got little time for now. So I'd ask you to give perhaps a single specific thought on this, and it's observations and question from Layla Fear. Hello everyone, really interesting to hear about what you've all been doing, and just the sharing of stories is always beneficial. What are your thoughts in terms of your emotional well-being and mental health, and not yours specifically, one's, I guess, emotional well-being and mental health, and what can we do to work on these? What advice do you give about that, both to individuals, but how they are also talking with other colleagues, family members, etc.?
I think one of the things I say to people quite regularly here is I think it's really important to break things into small pieces. When it comes to fitness and health, well-being, learning, we can always set ourselves really big goals. You might want to learn a new skill, lose some weight, and I think focus on the goal, but break it into small achievable chunks, and don't give up because it's a rainy day, it's a bad day. if you can set yourself small goals and try to look back at where you started, you'll find you've got quite a lot of inner strength, because I think it is very hard with people being locked in their homes and not being able to go out. One thing I've definitely found for my mental health is to be aware of the sorts of triggers and things that maybe if I'm getting stressed or, you know, I think laying off the booze and trying to eat a healthy diet is something that we should all be focusing on, and that's also very important at the moment. And to look to get some regular communication with people and activity, I would say.
Yeah. A number of things. Any additional points either from Owen or Sam and Amy?
I totally agree with Sam there. I think it's about, I don't think people can expect to come out of this and go straight back to where they were before the very first lockdown. I do feel small targets, small steps while you gradually build back into things. And I also feel by doing this, your confidence will slowly rise to eventually, let's be honest, it's been over a year now. We're not going to go straight back to where we were before the first lockdowns. We need to do it steadily and take that little bit more time to get to where we were before. Let's not rush. Let's do it nice and steady and build the confidence as we're going along.
Yeah. Sam, Amy? I'm afraid the seagulls have got to you. Eek. We can't hear you, which is such a shame.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. You didn't get rid of us then. No, but yeah, you tried. But basically, Amy was just saying it's about being kind, you know, being kind to yourself. And I also think that Owen's just said we've been in the virtual world really for a year, more or less, haven't we, in this situation? And, you know, like anything, things can be misconstrued. You can overanalyze things. You can't read people in the same way in the virtual world. So I'd second everything. We second everything that Sam says about, you know, that emotional side and taking care and investing in your health and well-being. But also, I think it's important to remember that it's like, you know, being on Zoom, sometimes you can't quite, you don't grasp it the same way as being with other people. So I think sometimes it's just about staying, you know, try not to overanalyze things, you know, because we're all in our homes, aren't we? Most of us, you know, our homes have become our workplace. There's no disconnect. So it's, you know, you've got to give yourself a little bit of you know, a bit of kindness really, and go, well, don't beat myself up if I haven't been able to do this today. And that's our biggest message, I think. You know, do it because you want to, and if the day you don't want to and you having a word with yourself isn't going to work, then there's tomorrow. You know, you've got to just, you know, be kind to yourself and not have such high expectations, I think, you know, because we're all dealing with a lot of stuff, aren't we?
We are indeed. There's a lot of lovely observations there. I'm afraid we are going to have to call it to a halt. I hope people watching this have taken the positivity, which, although with the caveat that Sam has just said, you can't always get everything you'd wish from Zoom that you can in real life. I am sure people will have got, as I have got today, just an incredible sense of your individual positivity. And I really commend you for that. And I hope it's been inspiring for people watching it, as it has been for me on this session. So thank you very much indeed. It really is very much appreciated. So thank you to Sam Farnfield of Cardiff Pedal Power, to Owen Phillips, Operation Fitness, and to Sam and Amy from Escofet. Thank you to all our speakers. And thank you for your questions and your time today. And of course, your support for Cardiff Life in this, as this weirdest of years ends, thank God. And when a new world is emerging, it will come. The exact chronology, exact timetable, exact iteration, we'll see. But we know it's coming. We know that things are getting and will get much better than now. It's likewise also clear that, particularly in health and fitness, there's no point in all of us just sitting back and hunkering down and hoping that you know, we're going to get through. We've just got to get active. And you're almost a metaphor for this. You're active as individuals. That's exactly what all businesses are having to do now and will be in the next few weeks and months. We've just got to get moving to get all of our businesses moving forward, just as we have to ourselves personally. The future is unwritten, and it's going to be written by people like you, getting out there, being active, being positive. From Cardiff Life, good luck to all of you in the coming months. This has been a Media Clash production, and this has been a very special Cardiff Life Business Club Cardiff together, always. Thank you.